Two-time heavyweight world champion Tyson Fury has announced his retirement from boxing, but doubt has already been cast on how long it will last. Fury posted this somewhat cryptic message on Instagram. Take a look.
Hi everybody, I'm going to make this short and sweet. I'd like to announce my retirement from boxing. It's been a blast. I've loved every single minute of it, and I'm going to end with this. Dick Turpin wore a mask.
That obscure reference to Dick Turpin, a masked robber from the 18th century, is believed to refer to Fury's two losses to unified heavyweight world champion Alexander Usyk, bouts which he believed he won, but was robbed in his eyes by the judges. Leading promoter Eddie Hearn has suggested it could be all part of a negotiating tactic to help get a bigger share of the purse for a mooted fight with fellow British heavyweight Anthony Joshua.
It's always best to come into retirement to make sure someone pays you to come out of retirement. But if that's his lot, much respect to him and wish him all the best.
Hearn is Joshua's promoter. For more on Fury's retirement announcement, Luke Doherty caught up with the main event boxing commentator Ben Damon.
Before we get into all of the big issues around whether this is genuine or not, let's address the most important thing today. Did you have to Google, like the rest of us, just who on earth Dick Turpin was?
I knew the surname because there's a legendary boxer, Randolph Turpin. Right. So I thought it was something to do with that. And then when I did have a look at it, it started to make more sense. He's such a character, Tyson Fury. He was never going to retire for perhaps the fifth time in any simple way. So it was no surprise there was something like that in there.
Are you surprised, though, that regardless of whether this sticks, because we'll get into that shortly, to wake up to this announcement at this point in time?
Not really, because nothing can surprise you with Tyson Fury. Having dealt with him personally on a number of occasions, we brought him out to Australia not that long ago. I've dealt with him in Vegas around his fights in the UK as well. Nothing can surprise you because he's such a character. He's so outlandish. He just exists on a different frame and a different planet. So, no, it wasn't a surprise. And coming right in the middle or at the pointy end, really, of these negotiations for a fight that all of the UK, not just boxing, but sport has wanted for so long, it doesn't surprise. It's such a clever move in a lot of ways, if it is just that. But with Tyson Fury, who knows? There might be something different later on today, tomorrow, because that's just the guy that he is.
And it's perhaps on par with what we see the theatre of boxing, that straight away there is speculation that this is a tactic. This is something Tyson will put out into the world just to see what happens.
Well, he's boxing's boy who cried wolf, isn't he? He just keeps doing this. He's been retiring since 2013. So he's been
There's
doing
a T-shirt in that.
Yeah, exactly. He's been doing it for longer than a lot of the boxers around nowadays have been fighting. So it would not be a surprise at all if he reverses this, if this is simply a tactic to drive up his price for that fight against Anthony Joshua. So that would probably be the expectation. That's what most people think. If he stays retired, fair enough. He's had a good career. He's coming up with a couple of losses against Alexander Usyk. He was pretty good in those fights, but he is 36 years of age. Before that, he fought against Francis Ngannou and got away with one, really. So he's coming off three performances he wouldn't be happy with. If he were to sail into a version of the sunset now, then fair enough. But no, I don't think that's what's going to be happening.
So the timing of it, with Eddie Hearn, who's Anthony Joshua's promoter, recently revealing that there was a venue and there was a prospective time frame for this bout against Anthony Joshua to happen, and then Tyson goes and pulls the pin.
Yeah, it's
coincidence.
It's fascinating, isn't it? Because they've had such a running battle. They've been friends and they've worked together at times, Eddie Hearn and Tyson Fury. But at other times, they've really gone at each other. He wouldn't care about stirring the pot with Eddie, and I saw Eddie's immediate reaction. He's dubious, like everyone. He understands better than most that if you do retire, then someone has to pay you to come out of retirement. So he gets that this is a clever negotiation tactic, if that's what it is. So the timing is exquisite. It's very Tyson Fury, but it just lends itself even further to us thinking that it's a really clever ploy for him to get himself a bit more money for what is a huge fight, despite where they are in their professional boxing careers. Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua, they really have been the two stars of the sport over there. They're in the twilight of their careers. AJ was knocked out by Daniel Dubois most recently. Of course, Tyson Fury went down twice to Alexander Usyk, who is the king of the division. Those two other fighters have all the belts in this weight class right now. But still, the biggest fight you can make is between these two guys, these two huge characters and personalities and superstars in the UK. And maybe this just takes us a step closer towards that being a reality, because maybe Fury is going to get what he thinks he's worth.
All right, just finally, if this is the end, if it is no more retirements, this is genuine, we don't see Tyson Fury in the ring again, where does he rank amongst the greats that you've seen, amongst the greats of all time?
He's not in the conversation amongst the greats of all time. That is perfectly clear. And the fact that he lost his last couple of fights against Alexander Usyk, who himself has a case to be on the fringes of that conversation, perhaps at the end of his professional boxing career. Usyk's only had 7 fights in the heavyweight division, but he's been a superstar at both cruiserweight and heavyweight, whereas Fury, he had some really big moments. Of course, he beat Vladimir Klitschko to win those titles. The upset of the year that year in 2015 when it happened. He had that incredible trilogy with Deontay Wilder, winning 2 of those fights and winning one of them explosively as well in what was one of the greatest heavyweight trilogies that we've ever seen. But he just doesn't have the resume to be counted amongst your Ali's and Marcianos and the huge list of legendary figures. He's not in that conversation, but gee, he's been an exciting and compelling character, and he's been one of the most fascinating people to watch in boxing of all time.
Never dull. And if and when we do get another video from the front seat of Tyson Fury's car, I look forward to speaking to you then.
Can't wait. Thanks so much.